In the ancient world, violence wasn't just a fact of life, it was a virtue. The Greeks, the people who gave us democracy, philosophy, and some of the greatest stories ever told, didn't shy away from bloodshed. They celebrated it, from the battlefields of Thermopylae to the pages of the Iliad. Violence was a mark of honor, a path to greatness. But today, we see it differently. We mourn it, we analyze it, and we try to erase it. Why did the Greeks glorify violence? And why don't we? This is a story of two worlds, theirs and ours, and what they reveal about human nature, survival, and the values we hold. To understand the Greeks, we need to step into their reality. Ancient Greece wasn't a unified nation. It was a patchwork of city-states, places like Athens and Sparta, Thebes and Corinth, each fiercely independent, each surrounded by rivals. These weren't peaceful neighbors trading olive oil and poetry. They competed for land, resources, and power, often through war. Beyond their borders, empires like Persia posed an existential threat. In 490 BCE, at Marathon, a small Greek force faced a Persian army sent by Darius. They won, but the danger didn't end. 10 years later, in 480 BCE, Xerxes, Darius' son, marched an army estimated at over 150,000 across the Hellespont to conquer Greece entirely. For the Greeks, violence wasn't optional, it was survival. Their world demanded it. Let's start with Sparta, a city that turned this reality into a way of life. Spartan boys were taken from their families at the age of 7 and enrolled in the Agoged, a rigorous training system that wasn't about reading or writing. It was about forging warriors. They learned to endure hunger, to sleep on hard ground, to fight with spear and shield. Weakness wasn't tolerated. Survival was the lesson. In 480 BCE, at Thermopylae, 300 Spartans, led by King Leonidas, faced the Persian with a few thousand allies. They held a narrow pass, a choke point that forced the enemies into a bottleneck. For 3 days they fought, spears clashing, shields breaking, until every Spartan was dead. Their bodies were left where they fell, but their stand wasn't a defeat. It delayed the Persians, giving Greece time to rally at Salamis and Plataea, where the individuals were finally driven back. To the Spartans, violence wasn't a tragedy, it was their purpose, the foundation of their identity. Why did they glorify it? The answer lies in a Greek idea, arete, or excellence. To the Greeks, arete was the peak of human potential, courage, strength, skill, all brought together. It wasn't enough to feel it, you had to show it, and nothing proved arete like violence. In Homer's Iliad, written around 1200 BCE, Achilles is the hero of the Trojan War. He's not a diplomat or a scholar, he's a warrior, relentless and fierce. When he slays Hector, the Trojan prince, and drags his body around the city walls, it's a brutal act. Hector's father, Priam, watches in grief. His wife, Andromache, mourns. But to the Greeks, this isn't cruelty, it's part of it. Achilles proved his arete through his spear, his refusal to yield. Violence was the measure of a man's worth, the ultimate test of who he was. This wasn't just about war. The Greeks loved competition, what they called agagon, at the Olympic Games, held every 4 years since 776 BCE. They didn't just run races, they fought, wrestling, boxing. It combined striking and grappling with almost no rules. Men broke bones, drew blood, sometimes died, and the winner was crowned with the olive wreath. His name echoed in history. Their myths carried the same theme. Heracles wrestled the Nemean lion and slew Hydra. Theseus faced the Minotaur in Crete's labyrinth. These weren't stories of peace, they were stories of struggle. Violence wasn't a side effect. It was the point, the stage where excellence emerged, where the ordinary became extraordinary. Even their gods embodied this. Zeus ruler of the heavens, didn't rise by negotiation. He overthrew the Titans, his own kin, with the raw power, hurling thunderbolts to secure his throne. Ares was the god of war, unapologetic, revealing in battles chaos. Athena, goddess of wisdom, also carried a spear and shield, guiding warriors with strategy as well as intellect. The Greeks didn't imagine a peaceful universe. The cosmos was born from conflict, chaos, given way to order through force. Violence wasn't a human flaw to them. It was a divine, a thread running through their understanding of reality. Their thinkers saw it the same way. Plato, in his Republic, written around 380 BCE, designed a society with a warrior class, the Guardians, trained from youth to protect it with their lives. Aristotle, in his Nicomachean Ethics, argued that courage, especially the courage to face death in battle, was the highest virtue a man could achieve. These weren't ideal theories. In 338 BCE, at Chaeronea, Philip of Macedon crushed Athens and Thebes, uniting Greece under his rule through force. His son, Alexander the Great, took it further. By 323 BCE, he had conquered the Greece, uniting Greece under his rule through force. His son, the Alexander the Great, took it further. By 323 BCE, he had conquered from Greece to India, Persia, Egypt, Mesopotamia, building an empire on the edge of a sword. The Greeks didn't just accept violence, they admired it as a tool of greatness, a means to shape the world. Why don't we glorify violence? The first reason is our world. We live in a time of stability the Greeks could scarcely imagine. Our cities aren't raided by rival states every spring. Our food comes from supermarkets, not fields we have to guard with our lives. When violence happens, a shooting in a school, a war in a distant country, it's the exception, not the rule. We've built systems to manage it. Police patrol our streets. Armies defend our borders. Court settles our disputes. The Greeks had no such buffer. Their safety rested on their own hands, their own weapons. If they didn't fight, they didn't live. Our ideas are different too. In the 17th and 18th century, the Enlightenment reshaped how we think about society. John Locke, writing in 1689, argued that government exists to protect life, liberty, and property. Violence is a failure of that protection, a breach of the social contract. Jean-Jacques Rousseau, in 1762, went further, claiming humans are naturally peaceful, only turned violent by the pressures of civilization. The Greeks saw it the other way. To them, conflict was natural. Peace was a rare and fragile thing. Their history backs this up. Centuries of war, from Troy to the Peloponnesian struggle, shows a people who didn't dream of ending violence, but of mastering it. We, on the other hand, have institutions like the United Nations, founded in 1945, built on the hopes that dialogue can replace bloodshed. Our lives reflect this shift. The Greeks faced a world where half of their children died before adulthood, where a bad harvest meant starvation, where an enemy's spear was never far off. We have medicine that saves lives, technology that feeds us, the global trade that keeps our shelves stocked. Struggle isn't our daily reality. We don't train our children to fight. We teach them to negotiate, to collaborate. Violence isn't a virtue to us. It's a problem to solve. Organizations like NATO and the International Criminal Court exist to contain it, to punish it, to keep it at bay. The Greeks had no such mechanism. Athens and Sparta didn't sign treaties. They clashed until one broke. Our stories show this difference. Modern films, video games are full of violence. Superheroes battling villains, soldiers storming beaches, but it's not real. Heroes win, villains lose. The world resets by the credits. The Greeks didn't sanitize it. In the Iliad, Hector dies. His wife weeps. His son is left defenseless, and Achilles is still the hero. That rawness was their truth. We prefer a version that's distant, controlled, easy to watch, but real violence, wars like in Ukraine, Syria, Yemen, doesn't fit that frame. It's messy, it's painful, and we'd rather not dwell on it. So what separates us? The Greeks glorified violence because it was their reality. A shield against chaos, a measure of excellence, a fact of their world. They lived in a time when strength meant life, when weakness meant death. Sparta's warriors, Athens' hoplites, Alexander's armies, they turned violence into a legacy that echoed today. We don't glorify it because we've built a world where it's a shadow, not a light. Our stability, ideas, our comfort lets us push it away, delegate it to others, dream of a day it's gone, but it's not gone. Wars still burn, streets still bleed, power still shifts. The Greeks faced violence with open eyes, gave it meaning. We try to close ours, hoping it fades. What can we learn from this? The Greeks don't tell us to embrace violence. They tell us to see it. They understood it as a part of us, not apart from us. We've made progress, built a world they couldn't imagine, but that doesn't mean we've outgrown their insight. Violence isn't just a problem out there, it's a question in here about who we are when the shield comes down. They answered it with spears. We answer it with laws. Neither answer erases it. Maybe the real difference isn't that they glorified it and we don't, but that they knew it and we are still figuring it out. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe. As you can see, my camera's all stretched out. Not sure why. Be sure to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what other video you would like to see. If I messed up on any words, it is Greek, so I might have had a hard time pronouncing it. I'll work on that next time. Y'all have a great day.